Letter 498 by Charles Lamb, p.m. January 22, 1830. And is it a year since we parted from you at the steps of Edmonton stage? There are not now the years that there used to be. The tale of the dwindled age of men, reported of successional mankind, is true of the same man only. We do not live a year in a year now. 'Tis a punctum stands, the seasons pass us with indifference. Spring cheers not, nor winter heightens our gloom, autumn hath forgone its moralities, they are hey pass repass as in a show-box. Yet as far as last year occurs back, for they scarce show a reflex now, they make no memory as heretofore, 'twas sufficiently gloomy. Let the sullen nothing pass. Suffice it that after sad spirits prolonged throe, many of its months, as it called them, we have cast our skins, have taken a farewell of the pompous troublesome trifle called housekeeping, and are settled down into poor boarders and lodgers at next door with an old couple, the bosses and bosseder of dull Enfield. Here we have nothing to do with our victuals but to eat them, with the garden but to see it grow, with the tax-gatherer but to hear him knock, with the maid but to hear her scolded. Scot and lot, butcher, baker, are things unknown to us save as spectators of the pageant. We are fed we know not how, quietists, confiding ravens. We have the otium pro dignitate, a respectable insignificance. Yet in the self-condemned obliviousness, in the stagnation, some molesting yearnings of life, not quite killed, rise, prompting me that there was a London, and that I was of that old Jerusalem. In dreams I am in Fleet Market, but I wake and cry to sleep again. I die hard, a stubborn Aloyser in this detestable Paraclete. What have I gained by health, intolerable dullness? What by early hours and moderate meals? A total blank. Oh, never let the lying poets be believed, who tice men from the cheerful haunts of streets, or think they mean it not of a country village. In the ruins of Palmyra, I could gird myself up to solitude, or muse to the snorings of the seven sleepers. But to have a little teasing image of a town about one, country folks that do not look like country folks, shops 2 yards square, half a dozen apples and 2 penn'orth of overlooked gingerbread for the lofty fruiterers of Oxford Street, and for the immortal book and print stalls a circulating library that stands still, where the show picture is a last year's Valentine, and whither the fame of the last 10 Scotch novels has not yet travelled, merry, they just begin to be conscious of the red gauntlet, to have a new plastered flat church, and to be wishing that it was but a cathedral. The very blackguards here are degenerate. The topping gentry, stockbrokers, the passengers too many to ensure your quiet, or let you go about whistling, or gaping, too few to be the fine indifferent pageants of Fleet Street. Confining, room-keeping thickest winter is yet more bearable here than the gaudy months. Among one's books at one's fire by candle, one is soothed into an oblivion that one is not in the country, but with the light the green fields return, till I gaze, and in a calenture can plunge myself into St. Giles's. Oh, let no native Londoner imagine that health, and rest, and innocent occupation, interchange of converse sweet and recreative study, can make the country anything better than altogether odious and detestable. A garden was the primitive prison, till man with Promethean felicity and boldness luckily sinned himself out of it. Thence followed Babylon, Nineveh, Venice, London, haberdashers, goldsmiths, taverns, playhouses, satires, epigrams, puns. These all came in on the town part, and the thither side of innocence. Man found out inventions. From my den I return you condolence for your decaying sight, not for anything there is to see in the country, but for the miss of the pleasure of reading a London newspaper. The poets are as well to listen to, anything high may, nay must be read out, you read it to yourself with an imaginary auditor, but the light paragraphs must be glid over by the proper eye, mouthing mumbles their gossamery substance. 'Tis these trifles I should mourn in fading sight. A newspaper is the single gleam of comfort I receive here. It comes from rich Cathay with tidings of mankind. Yet I could not attend to it read out by the most beloved voice. But your eyes do not get worse, I gather. Oh, for the collyrium of Tobias enclosed in a whiting's liver to send you with no apocryphal good wishes. The last long time I heard from you, you had knocked your head against something. Do not do so. For your head, I do not flatter, is not a knob or the top of a brass nail or the end of a 9-pin, unless a Vulcanian hammer could fairly batter a recluse out of it. Then would I bid the smirched guard knock and knock lustily, the two-handed skinker. What a nice long letter Dorothy has written. Mary must squeeze out a line propria manu, but indeed her fingers have been incorrigibly nervous to let her writing for a long interval. 'Twill please you all to hear that, though I fret like a lion in a net, her present health and spirits are better than they have been for some time past. She is absolutely 3 years and a half younger, as I tell her, since we have adopted this boarding plan. Our providers are an honest pair, Dame Westwood and her husband. He, when the light of prosperity shined on them, a moderately thriving haberdasher within Bow Bells, retired since with something under a competence, writes himself parcel gentleman, hath borne parish offices, sings fine old sea songs at 70, sighs only now and then when he thinks that he has a son on his hands about 15, whom he finds a difficulty in getting out into the world, and then checks a sigh with muttering, as I once heard him prettily, not meaning to be heard, I have married my daughter, however, takes the weather as it comes, outsides it to town in severest season, and a winter nights tells old stories not tending to literature, how comfortable to authored folks, and has one anecdote, upon which and about £40 a year he seems to have retired in green old age. It was how he was a rider in his youth, travelling for shops, and once, not to balk his employer's bargain, on a sweltering day in August, rode foaming into Dunstable upon a mad horse to the dismay and expostulary wonderment of innkeepers, ostlers and who declared they would not have bestrid the beast to win the Derby. Understand the creature galled to death and desperation by gad flies, cormorants winged, worse than beset Inachu's daughter. This he tells, this he brindles and burnishes on a winter's eves, tease his star of set glory, his rejuvenescence to descant upon. Far from me be it divertent, to look a gift story in the mouth, or cruelly to surmise, as those who doubt the plunge of Curtius, that the inseparate conjuncture of man and beast, the centaur phenomenon that staggered all Dunstable, might have been the effect of unromantic necessity, that the horse part carried the reasoning willy-nilly, that needs must when such a devil drove that certain spiral configurations in the frame of Thomas Westwood unfriendly to alighting made the alliance more forcible than voluntary. Let him enjoy his fame for me, nor let me hint a whisper that shall dismount Bellerophon. Put case he was an involuntary martyr, yet if in the fiery conflict he buckled the soul of a constant haberdasher to him, and adopted his flames, let accident and he share the glory. You would all like Thomas Westwood. How weak is painting to describe a man, say that he stands 4 feet and a nail high by his own yard measure, which like the sceptre of Agamemnon shall never sprout again. Still you have no adequate idea, nor when I tell you that his dear hump which I have favoured in the picture, seems to me of the buffalo indicative and repository of mild qualities, a budget of kindnesses, still you have not the man. Knew you old Norris of the Temple, 60 years ours and our father's friend, he was not more natural to us than this old W, the acquaintance of scarce more weeks. Under his roof now ought I to take my rest, but that back-looking ambition tells me I might yet be a Londoner. Well, if we ever do move, we have encumbrances the less to impede us. All our furniture has faded under the auctioneer's hammer, going for nothing like the tarnished frippery of the prodigal, and we have only a spoon or 2 left to bless us. Clothed we came into Enfield, and naked we must go out of it. I would live in London shirtless, bookless. Henry Crabbe is at Rome, advices to that effect have reached Bury, but by solemn legacy he bequeathed at parting, whether he should live or die, a turkey of Suffolk to be sent every succeeding Christmas to us and divers other friends. What a genuine old bachelor's action! I fear he will find the air of Italy too classic. His station is in the heart's forest, his soul is beguiled. Miss Kelly we never see, Talford not this half-year, the latter flourishes, but the exact number of his children, God forgive me, I have utterly forgotten. We single people are often out in our count there. Shall I say too, one darling I know they have lost within a 12-month, but scarce known to me by sight, and that was a second child lost. We see scarce anybody. We have just now Emma with us for her holidays. You remember her playing at Bragg with Mr. Quillinan at poor Monkhouse's. She is grown an agreeable young woman. She sees what I write, so you may understand me with limitations. She was our inmate for a 12-month, grew natural to us, and then they told us it was best for her to go out as a governess, and so she went out, and we were only 2 of us, and our pleasant housemate is changed to an occasional visitor. If they want my sister to go out, as they call it, there will be only 1 of us. Heaven keep us all from this exceeding to unity. Can I cram loves enough to you all in this little excuse particularizing?